Greetings, my friends. It is time for the RR Show. It is I, Vince, and let me look here. We got a stacked deck of stories. We're going to do Neighbors from Hell, Pro Revenge, and actually, we're going to be diving into some spooky stuff with Let's Not Meet. The Truth Is Here. We're going to dive into that subreddit as well, so let's get into this episode of the RR Show right now. So the first story today is coming from Ordinary Drive 7915 under the subreddit r/neighbors from hell. Neighbor blames me because her teenager's den smells like pot. Neighbor seemed perfectly friendly at first. Then one day, the landlord sends a reminder that no marijuana is to be smoked on the property and that the neighbors are saying there is a pot smell that starts in the evening and lingers until the morning. So I had smoked in the back deck the previous week one night, but I couldn't imagine the smell would be so strong that it lingers until the morning. Either way, I said no problem and moved any wacky tobacco consumption off the property completely. So a couple of days later, I saw Karen outside and she smiled and said hello. I went to talk to her and I gave her my phone number. I told her that if she has any issues with me, I would appreciate it if she talks to me first before the landlord if something is bothering her. I also told her that any weed smoking has been moved off of the property to townhouse and that it won't be a problem going forward. So then she starts in on me. Angrily, she says my basement smells like pot. Even this morning, it smells like pot. I'm relieved at this point as I realize the complaint isn't even about me. I kind of laugh and tell her that there is a basement tenant. We have no access to the basement, and not only that, we haven't smoked on the property at all in many days. She doubled down. She said, you, while pointing at me, are smoking pot in the house. At night and in the morning, it's coming down the pipes to my basement. The basement is our den and our cozy hangout spot. That is where my teenagers hang out. I can't have it smelling like pot in there. I really worked hard not to laugh right in her face. Through the pipes, and also where my teenagers hang out. It is some level of clueless to smell pot in your teenager's hangout basement and assume it's the upstairs tenant neighbors and decide to call their landlord instead of talking first. Not to mention I have 2 kids under 2. I'm not waking up with babies and roasting bongs in the house at 5 a.m. So anyways, I tell her, if your basement smells like pot this morning, and it's apparently coming from my house, why don't you come inside and smell? It must reek in my house if the smell is strong enough to come down the pipes to your basement. She didn't come inside and hasn't talked to me since. Eat rocks, Karen. Coming up on this episode of the RR Show, it is from r/pro revenge, posted by user Reddit saved my again. The title, my landlord got not exactly what he deserved, but it sure was a rough ride for him. I had a landlord who was pretty absent. I lived in this building, a high-rise like 20 stories, for 10 plus years. He, despite living next door to me, was absent and cold personally, but cool enough. Rent was good. Our agreement was never bother him about anything unless it's an absolute emergency. Shower head wonky? Go buy a new one. Fridge breaks? Get it fixed. Or, dude, just buy a new one. Take it out of what you pay in rent. Lost the receipt? I don't care. I know more or less what a fridge costs. Just take it out of rent. Finally, his wife decides she wants more rent. Wants to rent the place out as an office, not legal, and wants us out ASAP. I agree to move out a month early and get a month rent back plus deposit. Complete 180 on their part. The place is ruined. Can't give you anything until you fix all this stuff. 2 main things. My cats did scratch up the leather legs of the dining table. And the pull-up bar made 2 dents in the door frame of the kitchen, which was quite nice hardwood. They come to me with this list of tons of stuff, like, oh, you hang a photo frame here, this tile is slightly chipped. This is the busiest work time of year for me, but I'm trying to be cooperative. Sure, I get the table legs re-leathered, spackle the photo frame wall hole. Can't do anything about the door frame, take it out of deposit, patch the tile like dozens of little everyday wear and tear things. Like, you want me to change the window screens? These are all new screens and in nicer shape than when I moved in. But I did them all. I trusted the guy. Gotta get my money. At the end, he should have been giving me 2,500 euro back. He gave me 5. I still need to use the money to fix all that stuff. If you can't accept the 5, I can't give you anything at all. I was super pissed, but, I took the 5. Now, people in the building are gossipy. I don't participate, but I did tell this one older lady about my frustration. She told everyone. The wife went from being the star of the mommies group of the building to nobody wanting to talk to her. People shunned the guy, too. I originally told them I was planning on moving to another city, but opportunity came up and I ended up renting a similar unit in the same building. So they thought they could just screw me over and not have to see me, but now they did. And often. A year later, the office calls me with some question about how to do something with the floor heating. I go, door frame is not fixed, still has dents. I call the guy like, what the hell, man? And he tells me to mind my own business. 5 years later, I see the light at my old place is still on at 3 a.m. That's odd. I go check, the door's open, and the place is just trashed. Ruined, cabinets broken, stuff on the walls, lazy landlord. And the dents in the kitchen floor frame, are still there. So the guy never fixed anything, just kept my money. By this time, smartphones were popular, and we had a chat group for the whole building. So about 500 people. I took pictures and posted everything. Apparently, he had also nicked these people's deposit, and there was a huge ruckus when they trashed the place. Cops called. All these people chime in with complaints and pictures, people smoking in the hallways, leaving leaky rubbish outside the door, videos of people using foul language in front of children, dirty footprints. He got fined a lot for 1, creating a public disturbance, 2, degrading the quality of the living space, 3, illegally renting a residence as an office, and to top it off, the building management wouldn't grant him permission to have workers in to fix the place. So it sat there empty for like 6 months. The fines were big too. Take 1.5 months rent from me, lose a year's rent. Our next story is coming from Ghosts of Alaska, posted under the subreddit, The Truth Is Here. The title, Alaska Haunted Homestead, Multi-Person Experience. Seemingly sentient lights? My great-grandfather homesteaded in Alaska before all the housing developments and heavy traffic. Used to be a really quiet area, very swampy, super cold in winter. You'd walk through the swamp and hit patches, not quite frozen all the way though, even in the deepest part of winter. Now, that in and of itself isn't unusual. Running water doesn't always freeze. It's a geologically active area. Like, there's reasons for that, however. My great-grandfather spent time in Ireland before settling in Alaska, and he liked to tell how when he was there, he rescued a pair of fairies and made a pact with them. In exchange for being able to see things nobody else could, he'd take them with him and provide alcohol to their liking. When he settled in the homestead, so he liked to tell it, he brought the fairies with him. So long as they had a drop of alcohol and good company in the cold winter, there they'd stay. Now, we did see them on occasion at the swamp. Not just us kids, but the adults too. They look like fireflies or a ball of light, mostly in white, but you'd see one in red or blue now and again. Not like slightly red or slightly blue, like red M&M or blue M&M, but glowing red or blue. We saw them inside the cabin. Sometimes they'd follow you or all collect nearby while we were chopping firewood, but not always. The red one was always around when someone got hurt, and we were all fairly convinced it made bad things happen. I'm not sure if people outside our family saw them, but I do know everyone within my immediate family had at least a handful of direct experience with them, and at least one negative experience with the red light fairy, or fairy as my family always called it. The cabin had a sort of lodge-style design. The rooms were lofted to either side of the living room, kind of like in hotels where there's an open middle section, banisters surrounding it, with rooms on opposite sides. It doesn't really matter except that from upstairs you could see either side of the wall dividing the kitchen and sunroom. And on more than one occasion, you'd see the little balls of light would hit the wall and just keep going out the other side. You'd also hear whistling sometimes, kind of like an echo of what my great-grandfather sounded like when he was drinking, or as he liked to say, chatting with the fairies in his putter room. It would happen when you were in the swamp and in the house, and when you were the only person at the property at all. The homestead burned down shortly after my great-grandfather passed away, maybe 7 years ago, and so far, nobody's in a hurry to rebuild. I do wonder sometimes if the lights are still out there, or the whistling, but I'm not in any rush to go find out. The final story of this episode is from r/Let's Not Meet, posted by user OKGas775. Landlord tried to break in when I was home alone at 16. Just woke up in the middle of the night, remembering this and need to get it off my chest. When I was about 16, my dad, brothers, and I lived in an old rundown house in the middle of nowhere. It was a private rental. My brother would do work for the landlords to pay our rent. Our landlord never came off as particularly creepy, but that could be because I rarely went outside when he came over to talk to my dad, and he wouldn't dare do anything in front of my dad. I was home alone one day, and my dad and brothers went out somewhere. I don't remember. I had my dog in a fenced-in yard outside, but that was it. I was in my room doing whatever what I was doing, probably playing The Sims 2. We lived in the middle of nowhere, and there was a long driveway which the window of my bedroom directly faced. I could see or hear anyone driving up the driveway. I saw a car, not my dad's, and immediately freaked out. I ran and shut all the blinds in the house, turned off all the lights, checked the doors. They were locked. It was our landlord. He lived next door, about 2 miles from our house, and yes, that was the closest house. This wasn't the first time he'd come unexpectedly. It happened twice before, and both times I was home alone. Those first 2 times, he was only there for 10 minutes, walking around the outside of the house, then quickly leaving. But this time, it was different. I grabbed a big kitchen knife and hid it under the kitchen table. I heard him pull up outside and open our front gate. My dog was going crazy and barking. I heard him yell, "Shut up, mutt." I could hear his footsteps walking up to the door. He tried to open the front door. I was freaking out. At this point, I texted my dad. He was coming straight home, but it'd be like an hour. He continued to walk around the outside of our house, trying to peek in each window. The house is old and has 3 doors you can enter from the outside. He tried to open all 3. I thought maybe he didn't know I was home. Maybe the last 2 times were a coincidence. But he started saying things, including calling out my name. He knew I was home alone. I couldn't hear what else he was saying through the double brick walls, but I quietly creeped through the house, following his voice up and down the hallway. I was trying to hear what he was saying. That's when he said something I'll never forget. "I'm gonna burn the house down, but I'll let you out first." Of course, I didn't take him seriously, which scares me even more. He wanted me to come out. He wanted me to take his threat seriously. That's the part that gets me. I know exactly what would have happened if I believed him, and my life would have been completely different. He was there for at least 30 minutes, maybe closer to an hour. He was persistent. He left before my dad came home. I told him everything, and we moved out soon after. I still don't know how he knew I was home. My dad never saw him on the way driving out. So he knew my dad was gone because there was no car in the driveway. But how did he know I wasn't with him? That's why we'll never meet again. So thanks for being with us. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, please follow or subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling extra nice, you might as well leave a 5-star review. But for more, visit the website, rrshow.com. That is rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince, and we'll see you next time here on the RR Show.